So I went with the generic one to not get flagged. That's the reason why the other intro wasn't up. I'm just going to tell you all that because it's a fun time getting a YouTube email. We were just talking about, Matt, we're going to do something later. It's fun getting a YouTube email that says your content got flagged. And then it just hides the algo every single time. I love YouTube. It's the greatest thing ever. That's end rant for that.
We're gonna give you another project, Jack, of making us a intro that doesn't have any music that'll get flagged or what's the term for it? You guys would know, the citrus guys.
Copyrighted.
Yeah.
What's the name for like when music isn't copyrighted or anything? It's like generic. Isn't
copyright free, royalty free.
Royalty free. Thank you. That's
there we go. So there's a game that happened Friday. There's two, right? Like, we were talking about it. We'll touch on the women first. I'm a terrible rules person when it comes to women. Matt, we were joking about this. I know nothing. You could make me watch the whole game. I couldn't tell you what happened half the time. I'm just gonna be flat out with that.
Yep.
The dumb rules, as I put it, that's my it's the easiest way I can say it. You can't check, you can't get in their space, you can't. I could do a whole rant on women's sports, but that's not the. It's not even the sport. It's the rules. I'll just say it that way.
Well, there were times where like they called a green card, I guess, where like we went to check the other player's stick and got the stick, but then they still called a foul. Like I'm in kind of the same boat. I don't fully understand the rules, but it was. I mean, I've only watched a little bit of the women's games so far. I mean, they've only had 2 games, but like they didn't. From what I saw and read, they didn't look all that great against Maryland, and then they led most of the game against the number 1 team in the country in North Carolina, who didn't lose a game last year. And yes, they lost some pieces for graduation and stuff, but I mean, they have the best player in the country in Chloe Humphrey, and they still they led most of the game and then almost kind of like ran out of gas against the best team in the country. So I'm sure, Reggie was happy to see some progress, and they have a young team. They've got some new pieces. They got the new coach and the new system. So like, to me, it shows a lot of promise for them. Keep, continuing to go forward. And, I hope they continue to do well. So Jack, you were there, right? For that too?
Yeah. I caught a lot of the second half. The biggest thing is honestly the lack of offense. 2 straight games against ranked teams. You have to bring the fire. 2 single-digit outings. No Emma Ward. It's clear she's a coach now. She was dominant last year. She was an all ACC selection. Not there. She graduated. They're missing her. There's some players stepping up, but you really got to hit the double-digit mark. Especially you look at their schedule. They have to play Northwestern. They just played UNC. The ACC is always a gauntlet. Boston College. They sent 2. ACC sent 2 Final Four teams last year. There's got to be more scoring if you want to win these games.
Well, and if you look at the big picture, and I don't want to bring up old wounds, but you look at a certain freshman that flipped her commitment, and that's the piece that we're missing, right? The quarterback. So
he just got a text saying to bring that up. I will say that, and I know that because I got the no, but like. I mean, that is a big piece. Like, we all know that. I think most people understand that. It becomes a Kayla question, which I'm not going to dive into that.
We won't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. Let's focus on the one thing that we all know about, or most of us, except for Matt, who just gets texts from certain players on what he kind of can't say. Friday was a blur for me. That whole game was just a blur. That's the easiest way I can say it. Like, that was wild.
Yeah.
That's the way that I'll start it. Like, it was just wild.
That game, I said this on Blue Sky, that game had, in a way that is different than any Syracuse Maryland game prior, it really felt like a heavyweight title belt matchup. Right? Like, it felt like these are the 2 best teams in the country slugging it out. And nothing came easy for anybody. Every individual matchup was war for 60 minutes. the dome and the crowd in the dome, through the broadcast at least, definitely seemed to bring and up that intensity.
Yeah,
It was just
it was loud,
high level, well executed game of college lacrosse.
Yeah, I got so many texts from friends throughout the game, after the game. This is really cool. I've been, talking it up sort of all first semester in the fall. Like, this team's different, and then the week leading up, this game is going to be different. It was different. Gary, he said in the press conference, there's nowhere else in the country where a game in mid-February, the third game of the season, just that much amp. The crowd was there. They had the women's game, a big game early. Fans came in for that. They had the whole first bowl filled. The second bowl press box side was pretty well filled up. There, it was loud. There was a lot of hits. There was a lot of chippiness, and I'm sure we'll get into that later. But what a great day at the Dome for lacrosse in general. 2 games, linear network platforms, really good attendance, really good viewership, really good lacrosse games.
for sure.
Yeah, and Matt, we had talked about the attendance numbers really quick. I criticize everybody, so I'm going to praise everybody. The people showed up like that. The flat out people showed up for the game. The ticket prices aside, which I've seen way too many posts about the past couple of days, and I'm already sick of seeing that. Matt, we've talked about it, obviously. But like the people that showed up were loud. Matt, I think you made the joke like the first game you talked about Bogue being the freshman, and people stared at you. This time, people stood up and cheered. There wasn't like. In the fourth quarter, nobody sat down, it felt like. Everybody was standing the whole fourth quarter. At least in my opinion, that's what it felt like. The energy was there.
Yeah. I made that same joke about Kittleberger when he bodied Spanos in the fourth quarter. And, like, everybody around me, like, cheered and laughed. So it was, like, funny to see, like, the complete flip-flop of, like, people around me's reaction.
And the people just were there. Like, I got there 5 minutes before, and it was in a good way, it was terrible parking. I'm happy to say it. I'll say it. This is my one time that I'll say it. I was happy to be stuck in a traffic jam trying to park because they were. Everybody was there, and it seemed like most people got there early.
Yeah, we were there about an hour early, maybe 45 minutes early, because I came right home from work, picked up Max, went right to the game. We said the goal was 10,000, and people showed up and met that goal. I think it was like 159 or something like that.
159.
Yeah. So people met the goal that we set. That means nothing. but for games like that, you got to have that amount of people to give us like that extra advantage or push or whatever else. And I think Gary mentioned it in the post game that like that played a factor, like especially at the end of the game when everybody was being really loud. So,
and I think to touch on that, I think the women's helps that. Jack, you kind of talked about it, the 2 games back to back, right? There's people that came early for the women's game that normally wouldn't go to the women's game at all. Let's just call it what it is. And they're encouraged to stay.
Yep.
Whatever that is, that's great. Do it again, except not 2:30 on a Friday and rush hour in the middle of Syracuse. That's my only gripe about that. Is just the traffic is just nuts there at all times.
Yep.
And it's just
And even on TV to have those 2 games pretty much back to back, 2 number 1 teams coming to the Dome, 2 big matchups, 2 blue blood lacrosse programs playing in Syracuse. They had the number 1 broadcasting guys, Jay Alter for the women's game, Anish Shroff for the men's game. Like, even if you weren't at the Dome, the broadcast, and I think Cam, you can maybe touch on this, the broadcast was high level from what I saw on Twitter.
It really feels like lacrosse is back when Anish, Kark, and Quint are all on the call together. That's the team that makes you feel like, okay, this is in the lacrosse world an event. And they lived up to the moment as they always do. And the crowd lived up to the moment. That is the unique selling point about Syracuse. That is the thing that Syracuse has as a program that nobody else has. That, they'll get 10K for regular season games. There are some major D1 programs, power conference programs that don't get 10K for a season.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, that's the all-star crew. That's the Memorial Day weekend crew, like that
Yep.
commentate. So it's awesome. And like add in that you have 2 out of the 3 main commentators are alums too. So like that's another added level of kind of coolness to it. Like, so it's pretty cool.
Which side do we want to start on? Go ahead, Matt.
I was
Sorry.
going to say this was the first game since Gary took over that felt like we potentially game planned and out strategized Tillman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to Joey's dad over the weekend about the game and stuff, and he was saying that because I was talking about how it was awesome that we have some versatility in our team, and that like Chuck played down low instead, and we switched some things up to cover Urksa and his speed, and then we had Leo, Peyton, and Joey down on attack, and like it was all stuff that because Joe was on that side because that's the side that our attack was on, so he was on that side to watch Joey in the first quarter, and he said like he visibly saw Tillman like freaking out at the beginning of the game because it wasn't what he was expecting.
Yeah.
And like trying to re-strategize with his coaches quick because it wasn't what they had planned. So it's like, especially when you hear that, because I wouldn't have noticed that. Like, I'm not paying attention to that kind of stuff. So it was like that only like further emphasized that point to me that like our coaches really thought strategically about this game and how do we match up, where do we match up the best, and let's use it and use it to our advantage. So
it was a really impressive game plan on both sides. And it was noticeably different than what we have seen them do against Maryland and against big teams in the past. Offensively, they leaned into the idea of Joey having an A1 All-American level matchup, and they said, okay, he's going to be the finisher in this offense. They're going to run picks. They're going to run him off ball. There wasn't as dedicated of an effort to have him be the quarterback and the architect because that game plan has been out there for ages of how you play that. You just don't slide off Joey and you cover everything, and it throws grinds in the whole gears of the offense. And similar to Notre Dame, which is probably the other game that really felt like this, the Notre Dame game in the Dome from last year, they added that wrinkle in, and it felt like a genuine counterpunch the offense had for that style of defense. So in this one, it wasn't even as much running Joey off the ball as much as using the pick game, using screens, leveraging him, letting him get his hands free mid-range, and then there was just no hesitation on his end of being willing to shoot, and his shooting is noticeably better this season.
Yep.
And that's the other thing is it's okay to use the screen or to act as the finisher. He doesn't have to go through and beat Schaller one-on-one and juke him out of his socks and make him fall on the turf. He can come around the net and fire a nice shot, do a turnaround. He doesn't need to be, the guy taking the ball from midfield right through. He had an incredible game. There's obviously still going to be doubters, haters, critics on Twitter, but his efforts, especially against Schaller, especially in the game plan that Gates set up, was an A+. Let's just say it. For a guy that is known for not showing up in big games or criticized for that, he had another A+ today.
Yeah, he said it in the post game too. Like, I don't think he cares if he gets 1 point or 10 points, right? Like he just whatever they need him to do to secure the win. That's all he cares about, right? So, and people will say, "Oh, he can't dodge or whatever," but like he's not the speedy shift back and forth, make the defender fall over, and then score. Like that's just not his. He more lines up with the physical box style of play, that kind of like. And you saw it when he went up his last goal when he went up against that short stick. He did that all summer, the past 3 summers up in Canada, and he can handle that. Like that's not an issue. And you saw he literally toasted the guy and then shot it top corner with his offhand. Like his
box exploits for the last couple summers have been widely talked about. The last couple of years, he felt like a field player who had gotten experience playing box. This year, he feels like just a box player out there playing field. And they were using him in situations that highlighted that. And that's where his mid-range shooting comes into play, and the dramatic improvement he's made in that regard. In 2025, his shooting numbers were down from 24. So it's been the thing that has, right, like that's what's taken his game to the next level, is the ability to, if he can get his hands free at all, he knows how to use guys as his defenders as screeners, and he knows how to create that second of space or hitch. And for the most part, has just buried it. It's buried things in the corner when he gets that opportunity. And Rupel did not have a chance against any of the 4 goals that he scored.
Go ahead, Jack.
He's been using his hips better. You talk about the box, you talk about the things he's learned over the summer. He uses his body better. He's not just being an attackman or just a shooter or just a dodger. He's physically putting himself in the right positions when he gets the ball, that he's right there. He's right on the X. He's right turning so that he's there for the goal. You can clearly tell, backing down guys, those are box tendencies, bringing them to the field and really out-muscling guys, even as, a smaller dude.
Yeah, and he knows when to, like, he wants to initiate that contact so that he can control how that goes. And then as soon as you hard play him, that's when he is going to make his move and then get his hands free, right? Like, he knows exactly what to do when and play off of that defender and how they react, right? And that's why you always see he makes the first move every time to push into the guy.
Yeah, and just touch on Rupel. Let's also be fair. He's not Logan. I think people also realize that this game, like, that's another big part. We talked about the game plan. If Logan's in net for them, they obviously have a lot better chance of winning. I think, it's just different. Like, my dad looked at me at one point and goes, "He's not seeing a thing," and they're just shooting. And Logan would have made half those saves. It was
a unique feeling, and I think there was definitely some players who were not as gun ho with it as they probably should have been, and I think a lot of that was holdover on when you played Maryland in the past. It feels like it's automatic for McNaney, but Bear Anderson in particular, I think, had a game where he was trying to do the extra. He was trying to do the one more pass, and it was no. You got to shoot it. Like, you've got to take that angle when you get it. And going down the lineup, right? I think you saw that Maryland game plan on defense switch to a zone where they were going to play off. In particular, they were going to play off McCarthy and they were going to play off McEntee, because they didn't respect those guys' ability to dodge one-on-one and or right, if you slide and that guy's open, they didn't respect their ability to take an open shot.
That's where Hoddle comes in.
I was just going to say that.
With his speed.
That
he's not a big name. He's not a Spalina, not a Leo, not a Bear, not a Finn Thompson. But he comes in, he's fast, he gets the ball, he shoots it, and it's usually on target. And it just adds a little bit goal. You're like, whoa, what just happened? He got the ball, went right on the line twice. That's what, his sixth goal of the season already? I mean,
I would say that with how he's playing, he's our best midfielder right now. Because not counting Leo, right? Because Leo's kind of a hybrid right now. He's doing both, right? So, like, he has an advantage of being on the field at all times lately. But, like, straight up just midfielder, I think why it's our best midfielder right now with how he's playing.
Yeah, and you look at what he did one-on-ones, right? Like, they needed that first goal to get them on the board. And he gave him the juice goal. He gave him a little juice. The place needed a little energy. He goes behind, and you're like, okay. I was like, okay, let's see how their shorties do. And then he takes him, and then, like Jack said, he burns him. And his second goal was just insane. The fact that he was able to get that in. But he set the tone early.
And they
kept
going to him.
Yeah.
That was a nice part of that second quarter game plan from the coaching
Mhm.
staff was they figured out that was a matchup they could win at will. And credit
Yep.
to Hoddle, he has made the leap. I feel like we can pretty unequivocally say that now. There were reservations after Boston U and St. Joe's competition levels. How does it look against a real blue blood?
Yep.
He has made a leap, and he is turned into a very high level midfielder, and it has opened a lot up for this offense. And the coaching staff saw that, and they went to it. They kept pounding that rock, and they got at least 3 goals out of it in that first quarter run. That ended up being the difference in the game.
Well, that going back to the whole point of versatility of our lineup, right? You had to have a guy like that on your second line. That's huge, right? Like, and so not only did he score those first 2 goals where he just straight up ran past the guys, but then he knew, okay, they're potentially going to slide early now. So then he did that same dodge. They slid and he passed it to Bear right on the crease, and Bear scored. Like, he could have still tried to shoot that. Might have been a save, whatever. But like, he had the wherewithal to keep his eyes up as he's doing that dodge and make that feed for that easy goal.
No, and he's such a unique player in body type, in skill set compared to the other midfielders. That it adds sort of a curveball when you're facing him as a defenseman. You know, these guys like Leo, these guys like sort of Anderson, you're playing them big, you're playing them to, limit their shooting angles, limit their ability to pick spots. Where Hoddle's, he's just going to run right past you.
Yeah. Well, and I think the adjustment, that I would have seen if I was Maryland is put a pull on him, but then it becomes, who do you put a shorty on, right? Then it becomes the game plan of, all right, Wyatt beats us, okay. I think that's what they pretty much said from the get-go, like, okay, like Jack, you said, let Wyatt prove it, let McEntee prove it, let Bo, just the line, right? Don't let the attack beat us, but let everybody else kind of prove that they can shoot. And you saw that, though. Every single person that came on the field looked ready.
Yeah, I think McEntee was the only one who seemed pretty shot averse. But the other guy, the other accent pieces in this offensive lineup made the impacts they need to. You don't need them to have a hat trick, but if they Tyler McCarthy sprinkling in a goal on that split dodge to his weak hand, rip it top corner. Bogan scoring that goal in the fourth quarter by saying, I've got my hands free. I'm just going to take this shot and bury it.
Yep.
Those are the little things.
Father's alma mater.
And that's that's the kind of depth that makes this a really, really difficult offense to stop, because you game plan around the big names and the stars. Maryland's second half defense said, we're going to sell out and we're going to slide off of McCarthy, McEntee, Bogan. And those guys beat them then. And that's a situation where you really are in a pick your poison spot.
And that McCarthy goal, you hope that's like almost like we talked about last week with McEntee and some of those other guys. You hope that's the snowball, right? That gets the momentum going for some of those guys that you want to contribute more. Because before Friday, Tyler hadn't done much of anything offensively yet. And then he stings that corner. I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? Like, I made the joke that was retribution for the Joe Seidler top corner goal that Towson shot in, what was it, 2016 or 17, whatever year that was. I'm like, oh, that's retribution for that one.
Even if it doesn't turn into something where Tyler McCarthy has 15 goals this year that are like that, if a defense respects him enough that they're gonna play him on that and they're not gonna let him get to that opens up the rest of the offense for the rest of the guys, because now you can't slide off of him and you have to.
And I had a chance watching the Princeton game just literally less than 24 hours later. The guys, the Palombos of the world, the Kabiris, they got their points. They got 1-2 goals. But when they weren't there, when they didn't convert, they struggled. They only put up 7 goals. Really disappointing loss against Penn State. Syracuse has the lines. They have the depth. Even the young guys, Bogue with an insurance goal, Rawson, he's been looking better. Didn't really play in this big game, but he played a lot with St. Joe's. He played a lot with Boston University. There's depth that a lot of other teams don't have. If Princeton doesn't have it, who does?
Yeah. Well, and you talk about everybody that produced, right? Finn only had 1 point. Like that's the crazy part about it. Like,
and Rowan only did 2.
Right. If Finn buries a couple, then we're having a obviously it's not a bad discussion, right? It's just like more insurance goals. I think that's the thing.
Finn was in a different role in this game. Right?
Yeah.
Like this was not a game where and the lineup choices they made, it was not going to be a game where Finn was going to put up 4 points. And that was what was best for the offense as a whole. I do think like having him in these kind of games where you're expecting Joey to be more of the finisher, more of the off-ball guy in the offense, having him run out of the box and utilizing his passing from up top, I like that as a wrinkle you can throw into the offense because he created that goal to Joey on his 1 point because it was running out of the box, caught at the top, looked the defender back inside towards the crease, and then dimed it up to Joey, who got that step down angle as open as he was all game because of the way Finn put deception on that pass. So,
well, that's where this whole March positionless offense is a benefit, right? Because you can switch Finn up top, you can put Bear up top, and Leo down low. Like you can literally put any of those 6 guys, with the exception, maybe not anybody, but like you can put them anywhere, and they're going to be successful.
And the willingness to move that around makes it a really good offense. And if they mixed it up and they came out in that lineup and Maryland wasn't ready for it, and that's what let them make that first quarter run, that 5-0 run, that's what won on the game. Is they capitalized on that advantage in a game with really thin margins, took their matchup advantage when they had it, and capitalized on it. And then they
especially with the road trip coming up, you talk about versatility, different lines, being able to move things around. A lot of different style teams over an 8-game road trip. There's probably, let's just be honest, there's probably going to be an injury bug in some positional group with some top guys. It's an 8-game all road, trips to Denver, trips to Boston, trips to New Jersey. So many different teams are playing. There's going to have to be shakeups week to week.
Well, whether it's, Finn playing out of the box or like Beck moving to just man down for now, like it shows me that like all the guys only care about winning, right? Like the culture there is winning. It's not about I want to get mine or it's just, okay, what do you need from me, coach? Yep, I got you. Like, and even, I'm kind of switching to the defensive side, but what I was really impressed with was Filardi. Too. Like considering he had no legitimate minutes yet. Oh, we're gonna throw you in against the number 1 team in the country. Yeah, sure, go ahead, Joe. You got it. And I made this joke to somebody.
He's used to that though. He's used to being put into situations he's
not
ready for.
I made the joke to somebody. I was like, having to guard, a midfielder for the number 1 lacrosse team in the country is nothing like having a Miami defensive lineman chasing you down. Like, like he gets to do the hitting now. Like it's no big deal to him, right? So
I think after the whole quarterback thing, and I'm not a huge football, like I don't pay attention to the football program that much. I think he needed to remind people that he was recruited for lacrosse and he came for lacrosse, and he is a phenomenal lacrosse player. And the quarterback stuff is the kind of stuff on the side.
It's kind of funny because during the football season, everybody, man, I think you and I talked about it, but everybody's like, why is he playing football? I go, he wasn't recruited. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, get him to spring, and then we'll show you why he got recruited. Like, he just got plugged into a situation he didn't want to be in the fall. Let's just call it what it is for the football team.
He was the 5th quarterback option. There's no way he should have been playing football.
Yeah.
Like
that's a stay in shape role. That's what that is. Stay in shape for the season, and then
And to speak to Filardi, to speak to Hoddle, Jaden Kittleberger was phenomenal at short stick defensive midfielder. Bohan came in and made an impact. McCarthy. The unifying factor and the unifying trait for all of those guys is those are guys that were recruited and brought in and identified by the current coaching staff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk, like in the class of 22, it can't be overstated that they didn't commit to Gary Gate, with the exception of Finn Thompson. Riley Figueres committed when Petro was the DC, but that class sticking through a staff change and a change with Gary Gate coming in and being the head coach, and then having to do it again with John O'Derna. But so many of the filler pieces and so many of the pieces that in the offseason we sat there and we went, do you get somebody in the portal? Do you get someone in the portal to be a short stick? Do you get someone in the portal to be that sixth offensive midfielder? And they didn't. And it's paying off in how many guys are taking that opportunity and making the leap. And it bodes really well for this season, but going down the line that this coaching staff, they're not bringing in top 5 classes, but they are identifying and bringing in guys that make an impact among their 5 stars, but also among lesser known, like at high end 4 stars like Kittleberger and Filardi, but also guys like Hoddle who came in as a 3-star.
Right.
So I would imagine him being from Maryland, he wasn't recruited by Maryland, but Cuse identifies him, they pick him up, and he burns the Terps to make Cuse number 1 in the country. Number 1.
I was gonna say, you talk about guys that probably wouldn't have been playing if you get a portal. Jake Spalina is one of them, and once again, he plays a big role, and we keep
guy that's made a huge improvement over the offseason.
Yeah.
And the other thing is,
ahead,
guys in the portal, they're going to want to take shots. If you're going out to get an attackman or an offensive midfielder, they're committing to a school to shoot more, to score more, to rack up points. They can't all be guys taking shots. There's only one lacrosse ball.
Yep. Well,
So
we
Jake
made that
plays a
comment
role
in the fall too, right? We talked about all the recruiting stuff in the class that just committed, the juniors that just committed this past fall, and like how everybody's saying, "Oh, our class isn't that big," or the past couple are, not as high profile, and North Carolina's got 8 5-stars, and all this kind of stuff. And I made the same comment, like they had, I think, 4 or 5 attackmen that are 5-stars that committed to North Carolina. Only 3 of those guys can even be on the field. Like, so to your point, Cam, like they're finding the guys that fit into what they're trying to do, that are going to be able to contribute in the ways they need them to, they're identifying certain skills and whatever they need, and it's working.
Well, I mean, a lot of people would have put Chuck down low, and it probably wouldn't have worked. Let's also just call it what it is. That worked out pretty well, given how everything turned out. Like Chuck had as good a game as he could have had. Let's just call it what it is.
John O'Derna has changed this program dramatically since he's come in, and I would love nothing more. The romantic in me looks at the storylines of longtime assistant coaches in the past who stuck around and become very successful. But I'm getting to a point where for his sake, like being the defensive coordinator, being by all measures the defensive head coach at a program like Syracuse, is not something to like turn away or turn down or leave easily. He's going to get a big time head coaching offer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the rate at which he has improved this defense and the rate at which he has turned it into one of the very best in the country is so impressive. And I find it hard to believe that the next big lacrosse head coaching opening, he will not be considered for it, because
he got him last year too, which is funny, right? Like, everybody was like, okay, he's not going to take him. And now, like you said, Cam, right? There's going to be somebody that comes calling, whoever it is. It's going to be a bigger program. I'm not saying the offers last year weren't good, but like somebody is going to come calling for him.
But I'm saying, like, I'm about to utter something that is extremely cursed, but if Danowski retires and I'm Duke, he's maybe one of the first guys I'm calling. And I don't want him to turn down the opportunity for that. I mean, I do.
Right.
I hate Duke, but that's a side conversation. This defense was the story of the game.
Yep.
And the way that they just straight up bullied Maryland for 60 minutes. Like the quality and the scheme and the sliding was all on point. The one-on-one defending was phenomenal. They really didn't give Maryland that many clean-cut looks, and it probably should have been a game where they only gave up 6 or 7, but Jimmy let a couple of easy ones in.
I think in regards to coaching and just future, like I am so interested to see what happens in July with both Chancellor Severud and Athletic Director John Wildhack retiring.
Yep.
How the budget changes, how the priorities change, how, athletics as a whole, let's be honest, will change. Because you look at a university right now, one of the hottest head coaches in the football world, despite their record this year, a basketball program where they're putting in too much money not to make March Madness. And they keep doing it. They keep missing.
Right.
They have the son of their greatest player of all time, and they're still going to miss March Madness. And a lacrosse team who isn't getting any 7-figure, 8-figure donations like a Virginia or a North Carolina or a Duke has, but is the number 1 team in the country right now, and off of a bad or okay recruiting class, has guys stepping up in Friday night lacrosse in their 3rd game of the season, scoring goals, checking 2025 All-Americans, making the plays that make the difference.
Yep. I think one of the we haven't talked about it yet, but I think one of the big pieces that really contributed to this too was Mullen's first half.
Yep.
Like the part that has been kind of what led us to not be able to beat them is not be able to get ahead and keep ahead, right? Like, because if you either get behind them or like are kind of right there with them, typically they're going to find a way to beat you, or they're going to slow it down so you can't beat them, right? Like in the semifinals last year, right? They got ahead and then they just slowed it down. Where Mullen ripping off those 7-8 in a row, us getting a 3-4 goal lead, that gave us kind of a chance to play that way, and then also like control the game how we wanted to. And
go ahead, Matt.
And then to take that a step further, I think it also shows the maturity of the team, because we didn't throw it away, right? They punched, scored 2, we scored 2 back. They scored 2, we scored another to keep a little bit lead. Like it wasn't a they scored 2, we completely crumbled. And that was the difference like 2 years ago, right? When we lost in overtime, right? Like they started to fight back, in the maturity level of this senior class, it was only sophomores, they kind of crumbled, right? So, but yeah, that first half, he played real well.
Yeah, and the wings played well. Obviously, Angelo gets one as well. I think I was screaming from the stands, just win one. Every time he came out, just win one.
You said that last week, just win one.
But like that's all you need from him, though, right? Like Johnny gets a couple of stupid the stupid rules for the face-offs. I'll just say it that way. The stupid set, and then 5 minutes later we're gonna say go.
Yep.
A couple of that, but then Drew comes out and he gets a big one. Right?
The timing was big too.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, we're good. But then you saw Maryland start to speed themselves up, right? Like you talked about it. Like I think Tim messaged you and I, or he messaged me and said, speed Maryland up. Make Maryland play from behind. Make them play your game, and you play Maryland's game in a sense. Like you back off, let them shoot. Let them just, if they want to shoot. And you saw it a couple of times on their man up when they just passed the ball around. All right, we're going to sag it.
Just pass around the circle. I was like, what are you doing?
I thought live when I was watching it, I was like, I don't know if it's a strategy, because they didn't even look towards the goal. They just literally passed the ball around. They didn't do anything.
It was a middle
And I was
school
like-
team doing passing drills.
Right, like that's what it looks like, and then they just throw the ball in the corner, and I'm like, okay, that's your chance to put the hammer. Like, you make that as them,
Yep.
and it probably makes a difference. Like,
Let me do a thought experiment. Like, imagine a world where the game goes, Syracuse opens up, scores the first goal, 2 goals. They kind of get the dome rock and they get ahead of it, and then Maryland fights and battles back, and they find a hole in the defense, and their face-off guy starts winning, and they take that opportunity, they capitalize on it, score 5 goals. It's 7-4, 8-4 into the second quarter, or in the second half, I should say. And the entire second half of the game is Syracuse mounting runs and throwing counter punches, and Maryland always has at least an answer. Maybe Cuse gets close. Maybe Cuse gets it within 1. Maryland never breaks. Maryland never budges, and they hold out and they win by 2 in the end, and they slow the fourth quarter down. We've all seen that game multiple times because that's what Maryland does to people.
yeah.
And that was my takeaway from this game is Syracuse beat them at their own game.
Yep.
This team did not find the hack that existed that was let them put up 15 goals on the Maryland defense. This team did not get exceptional specialist play throughout the entirety of the game. Mullen got his. They made adjustments. Face-offs are fickle. It ended up being pretty even on that count. It ended up being pretty even on goalies. The goalie battle too. I thought Jimmy let in a couple of easy ones over the course of that game. He locked it in the fourth quarter.
Mr. Clutch.
Just the maturity and the mentality of this team to find their advantage, make the run that they needed to make, and play ahead and take every haymaker that Maryland threw at them. That defense bended, it budged. They never let it get tied up again, even if it was 1 goal. And they always found a goal against the run of play. They always found something to let them stay to it. And they just took the air out of the game in the fourth quarter and held on.
Yeah, we talked about this.
That is not a game that this team wins. And the fact that they did it, the fact that they out Tillman,
Yeah.
so impressive.
We talked about this after BU. The second half adjustments.
Yep.
They weren't there mostly all of last season. To be fair, there would be games where they would be leading in and they would just completely fall off a cliff. We saw that during the ACC tournament, during the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
Highlighted, obviously, on Memorial Day weekend against Maryland, where they started out slow and then just completely came out flat in the second half. This whole season's been about second half adjustments and adjustments in general.
Yep.
Boston University, they have trouble against the 10-man ride. They go through halftime. They clean it up. Obviously not perfect. BU's a good team. They're ranked for a reason. They have a strong 10-man ride. But they do better and they get the win. St. Joe's, they roll through. Maryland's tough. Maryland was a tough game. And the second quarter, Maryland starts getting a little pullback after a tough Maryland first quarter. Go in halftime. It's really anyone's game. Syracuse does what they have to do to come out on top. Which is why now this road trip that everyone was saying would sink the Orange would be so tough and insurmountable. They have depth. They have the ability to make adjustments and change it on the fly. And they have skill sets to match anyone, match the fast teams, match the chippy teams like we saw Friday. I have no doubt they can come out of this road trip unscathed.
For sure.
Do we want to start? Do we want to go ahead?
Our special guest is here.
Do you want to do it right now?
Yeah, might as well before we move on.
Okay.
Put your food down. Put it down.
Max is getting sponsored by Taco Bell.
I like it.
Get over here, you Louie. Are you still chewing? Yeah. Finish your chewing. You was just at camp today, huh? All right. What anything you want to say about the game on Friday?
It was a big game.
Yep.
And I'm glad we won it. A huge crowd.
Yeah.
Maybe a record crowd. I can't remember.
Pretty high up there.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Not
How
really.
about Joey? How'd Joey do? Your boy.
Good 4 goals and
Just 4 goals, yeah.
how many assists?
No assists, just 4 goals. 5 ground balls, though.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
Not really.
Okay. There you go. Max's minute.
Yeah. I was gonna.
Okay,
I
get
got
outta here.
more.
Presented by Taco Bell.
Yeah.
See if we get any revenue from that. Shut the door.
Seriously.
buddy. Shut.
I will say Lacrosse Reference had a very good breakdown of the game in their
Yes.
newsletter, if you follow it. And they really pinpointed the ground balls as the edge. Like, and that was kind of to the point of like this Syracuse team came in here with the mentality of we're going to beat the crap out of Maryland up and down the field. They just played trench warfare. They were going to be the first to every loose ball. They were gonna get and they were okay getting penalties if they were gonna hit guys a bit late. Like, let them know you're there. Let them know that you're gonna exert your physicality. They're gonna get punished if they come up the middle. And I really do think that set the tone for the game. That they were gonna be the team that out hustled Maryland. They were gonna be the team that out physicaled Maryland, and everything else fell into place after that.
We talk about the chippiness. There was a moment at the end of the first quarter where I was like, here it can be. This is where it starts. You get
a late shot.
Yeah. I was like, that's so live, it didn't look that bad. I'll just say it that way. And watching the replay,
obvious.
I was like, that's like 4 seconds late. That is a wind up. And I saw a bunch of videos and they were like, if I was Jimmy McCoy, I would have brawled him. I would have gone out and fought him. Like, I was laughing at that a little bit but like, it got a little chippy. But
when
I think it rattled Maryland more than it rattled Syracuse.
Yeah.
When the Spanos Dwan thing happened, I was looking on Twitter and all the Maryland people were like, oh, Syracuse is playing dirty. And I was like, have you seen what Schaler's been doing to Joey every time there's a pick? He's been literally trying to lay him out. He's tripping him. He's like, I literally saved clips and was sending them to people, be like, this is what they were complaining about, dirtiness, and this is the stuff that's happening. Like, blatant stuff. Like,
you mean the acting job by Spanos to get a free timeout out of that thing? And somehow, because like that was wild. Because I saw the flag and it's like, okay, what happened? Right? Like, okay, then you see the box and then you see all that, and then they showed up on the screen. I'm like, are we really going to call this a stupid, like, non-releasable? And then you see it, and it's like, oh, there's nothing.
Yeah, I've accidentally bumped into people harder getting into line at the grocery store. Like,
and I think, Matt, you said he got his brace, and then he was right back in, and then it was like
right back in.
Tillman gets the free timeout, which I heard a bunch of people around me saying that's what he wanted. So maybe there's a play there that.
Didn't look like there was one.
Watching, like, making sure we all
whatever they came up with during that whole long break didn't exactly pan out for him. So
yeah. I mean, I think it's stealing a timeout. Like, I think that's the easiest way to say it. I think they tried to, hoping.
It's gamesmanship, and I don't mind gamesmanship.
I
don't mind it. I like. Do the dark arts, right? Do you want to be a team that exploits every single margin you can? That's kind of part of what has made Tillman as successful as he has. I'd like to see Syracuse do it a little bit more. Like, but then like own it, own being the villain on it.
Yeah.
But I do think that I don't think Maryland was prepared for Syracuse to come out and be as physical and be as aggressive and be just on it as they were from the moment that game started.
Well, because we've typically been the flashy team, right? Not necessarily the most physical team. So
and that's the story of the game. Maryland punches, Syracuse punches back.
Yep.
Something that didn't happen last year, back in May. Maryland comes out physical. Syracuse sort of fades. Oh, next year will be our year. Friday, they came ready to go. They had Bowen, they had Kittleberger,
Yeah.
they had even, the non-tough guys stepped up and played a physical role. The ground balls, the forced turnovers, even the saves by McCool right on the doorstep, right there, point blank. Everything was done physically with a purpose. We're winning this 1 versus 2. All bets are off.
Right.
Well, even that one shot right towards the end of the game, maybe a minute and a half left, where he shot it, he got a save, but then it kind of started to bounce, and Chuck Kaczynski like dived out of nowhere to get in front of the ball so it wouldn't roll into the goal. Like that's the kind of stuff. Like that's the difference, Like those little things make such a big difference.
And
yeah, I was gonna say, Matt. I mean, you play in a league. You could tell me. I mean, what 2 people that would do that in your league? Maybe. Like, there's a lot of people in college lacrosse who wouldn't do that. So to see that from Chuck, and then the crowd erupts, and then it happens, and then it's like, okay, we're winning this.
Yep,
we're there.
Yep.
It was kind of funny to hear Tillman's press conference after, though, Jack. I'm sure you got some thoughts about that because he
dug into the semifinal.
Yeah,
and that was, first of all, for the press conference, them bringing out Chuck. I saw that, and then I looked at my stat sheet and saw the ground ball difference.
Yeah,
and the turnover difference. It's one of those things you notice during the game, but you don't really notice it until you see the numbers in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which was really impressive from the whole unit, but Chuck in general, obviously, as a captain of that. But then for Tillman to say, second half last year, they sort of dropped into a zone. We were able to keep playing our system. That was obviously different on Friday. Because Syracuse set the tone, not Maryland.
Yep.
Maryland wasn't able to dictate what happened.
Yep.
And the depth in this defense and the auxiliary pieces who have been as good as they have is what has allowed this to really take shape and take effect. You can move Chuck down. You feel a lot better about moving Chuck down to close defense because Bolanino is.
Yep.
He's
another young piece that's like, all right.
He is making a star turn. I mean, his ability to lock up an opposing team's best midfielder is pretty uncanny. And the only Maryland player that consistently won their matchup in that game was Stovall against Shorty.
And he had a shorty on him when he did it.
Well, and every time he came out of the box too, right? It wasn't like a set piece.
Yeah.
Because he came out of the box and he had the line and he lucked out and Bowen made him go the one way to his weak hand. So it's like, okay, that's the play you want, right?
And
you force that.
The whole thing about this Maryland offense with Urksa and Spanos and Lyons and Leo Johnson is that they don't have a guy. There's not a single guy. There's not a focus in that offense, but they have 5-6 guys that can all be the guy in a specific situation at a specific and that versatility lets them attack defenses in a lot of different ways. The only guy they had who was living up to it was Stovall. Everybody else got shut down in their one-on-one matchup. Everybody else. And that goes up and down the lineup to Figueres and Dwan, to Kaczynski. He only really got beat by Urksa that one time. Otherwise, played a pretty solid game. Bolanino and Filardi locked up their guys.
Yep.
It was.
We've talked about versatility a couple times, right? So now you have Beck and Kaczynski, right? So if their third attackman is a big lumbering physical guy, all right, now you put Beck back in.
Yeah.
You got your third attackman's a speedy guy. All right, now Kaczynski's in. So you have that versatility of kind of playing to what your matchup is instead of trying to put a round peg in a square hole,
Yeah, and I think that you can probably rotate anybody down there. I think you probably feel comfortable at that point. If it's not Chuck, it's Filardi, right? Maybe later in the year, Filardi goes down low to stay with somebody, but you get him into game shape, and that's what you wanted. This is the first time you saw him, and he looked in shape. Like he looked he was good to play lacrosse. Let's just go. Any other thoughts?
I just wanted to finish with one thing. I know we talked about it beforehand.
I don't know if Jack wanted to say something before you.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Jack.
I was just gonna say, you talked about game shape. Nobody looked out of game shape.
Yep.
This is February.
Yep.
Rankings are going to change. Teams are going to win games they shouldn't have. They're going to lose games that they should have won. Syracuse looks like an April or May team on Friday.
Yep.
Does that continue over this road trip? TBD. But everyone looked ready to go. Nobody was out there. You weren't watching the game saying, oh, this guy looks unready to play. He looks like a February or a January player. Everyone knew what they were supposed to do. And that's what Maryland likes to attack: unprepared players, unprepared zones, weaknesses. There was none of that. Syracuse won.
Yep, for sure. So one of the constant storylines right now is Joey, his point record, and or potentially going to set the point record, and is he going to win the Twarton? Is he going to bring the team to the national championship? All this stuff, and then what does that mean for his legacy, right? That's the constant discussion right now. So at the end of the game, there's about a minute left. The guys in the broadcast started talking about it, and I want to play that 1 minute because I thought it was really cool. I'm hoping it'll come through loud enough on my iPad here because I got
it was earlier when you were trying to do it.
I did turn it up a little bit too. If it's too loud, say something. I'll turn it down.
Approach the pressure he's put on Maryland in the ride kit. The reality is this: when Spallina and the rest of his senior class arrived on campus, it was the worst season, coming off the worst season in the modern era. 4 wins. So worst season since 1975. You could argue
4-10.
Yep, they were 4-10, and then they go to 8-7, and then they go to the quarterfinals, and last year they go to the national semifinals. So now, what's the expectation? It's national championship. But the reality is, he came in with massive pressure on his shoulders, and he's delivered. In a time where the program was struggling, his stardom was much needed.
And ultimately, if Syracuse wins it all this year, to me, that's his legacy. It's not about the comparison game. That's not what it's about.
That's it.
It's about the guy who helped bring the program back to where it used to be, to where it was when you played college.
You're never going to be Mike Powell. Mike Powell's the greatest attackman of all time. You're not going to be Gary Gates. Gary Gates,
people
use Gary Gates, the greatest player of all time. But let this guy write his story. And when it's finished, then we could dissect what his legacy is. And if his legacy is bringing the program back, that is a darn good legacy to have.
Oh, it's pretty dang cool.
Facts.
And spot on.
Yeah.
It's being the best. It's being the best Spallina.
2009 was the last time they beat Maryland before Friday.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
And a lot has changed in college lacrosse since then.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that because I thought it was really cool. And I know there were a lot of people that might watch this that were at the game that didn't get to hear that. So
yeah, I was gonna say that's been our discussion, right? The legacy. We're playing the legacy game. And I don't know. I don't want to do this because I like Clark. They said it best. Let him have his points, let him have the year, and then have the discussion. Because if we
said
start
we're not
doing
it, I said we said in the season preview we're not doing it. We're not doing discourse.
I know.
And,
I just wanted to share that clip because I think it's spot on with what we were kind of saying before, right?
Right.
Let's have the season, then talk, right?
Stop
with all this comparison BS.
And you know what? Friday at I don't know what was it 9 o'clock was when that game ended. 9:30.
Yeah.
The handbrake. They turned the handbrake off. Everything that win against Maryland. Anish asked a very loaded question to Clark during the fourth quarter of that broadcast of, does it feel like this win would mean more for one team than the other? And Clark did not take the bait. Clark said it's really important for both of them. And we knew that was a lie.
Yeah.
This game was so important for Syracuse because Maryland, they have done incrementally. They have continued to cross things off the list. When you climb Mount Everest, you don't do it all at once. You go up to base camp 1, then you go up to base camp 2, then you go up to base camp 3, then you go up to base camp 4. And the weather has to be good at base camp for you to be able to make a summit attempt, right? And Maryland always felt like the hurdle they could never get by. For valid reason. They hadn't beat them in 17 years.
Yep.
When they do it, when they beat Maryland, very similar to Notre Dame, it was there's no more ceiling. There's no more limit. There's no more can they do this against this opponent? They beat Maryland in the Dome, and that means that this team can go anywhere and anytime beat anybody. And that means that, they should be the favorite for the national championship. Right now, it's early, but they're the number one team in the country. And right now, it's early. Take the opponent adjusted rankings with a grain of salt. But Lacrosse Reference, this is the number one offense in the country in opponent adjusted efficiency. And the number 3 defense in the country in opponent adjusted efficiency.
Yeah, it's pretty dang good. Well,
so there's a whole season left to play.
Yeah.
But barring catastrophe, you always need luck, right? You're always going to need luck. But barring that, this team does feel different. This team feels as though it's built different. This team feels as though the mission that it is on is different than anything we have seen from this last era of Syracuse lacrosse. And I think last night was the first time in this whole thing that I genuinely felt like they can do it. That they can do the whole thing. They can bring a national championship home. And when you get that feeling and that confidence, every other limiter you put on it just goes away. And that's the exciting part. Yeah.
Well, and that's a perfect segue into, like, if you look at the games that were played on Saturday too, like, that only, and granted, some of those teams were playing their first games, right? But like that only further made me feel like more confident about the rest of the season. When you look at, like, Princeton lost bad to Penn State, you can say, okay, it was their first game, but they didn't look good. UVA lost to Richmond. UVA is all sorts of a mess, it seems like. Denver barely beat Utah. Colgate barely beat Hobart. Notre Dame only beat Marquette by 5. Like, that's a game where you expect like a 20-5 kind of game. Like, and even, like, I know we're not playing them this year, but Cornell barely beat Albany. Like, so, and granted, a lot of, I think 1, 2, 3, half of those teams, they were playing their first game. So you can make some of that argument. Teams will make it just whatever. But like, you know, it's, when you see that kind of stuff and you see how we're playing right now, like, it only makes you feel like even better, right?
Saturday really reinforced that we're not done with Maryland. That is we're gonna see that matchup again at some point. Very likely on Memorial Day weekend, maybe even on Memorial Day itself. And that's where it comes back to, would this win more for the team? Because I, in the fourth quarter, had resolved myself to, this was a championship caliber performance that Syracuse put in, and that it was a very, very encouraging one, regardless of the outcome. But if they had lost that game, if they'd let it get away and lost by 1 in the Dome or something, and fast forward to May and you're playing Maryland in the national championship game, you would feel the monkey on your back even harder. Whereas okay, they did it, and I'm sure Maryland is gonna remember it, but they cleared that hurdle, and I would not be surprised at all if we see this matchup in May.
Well, now if we play them again, the pressure's on them, right? Because we beat them. So
this group is 0-1. Maryland against Syracuse, 0-1. This team. Not the 17 years before it. 2026 Maryland. 0-1.
Well, that's what's crazy, right? Like, we're post Logan for Maryland.
Yes.
So now this is a big difference for them. Like, we talked about it. Rupel's going to get better. We all know that. Like,
he had a good game.
He had a
good game. I think for the most part, like, right up until the end of the fourth quarter, he outplayed Jimmy in that game.
Well, by saying all this, we're not saying he's a bad goalie either, right? He's amazing.
No, he's just not generational.
And that's where in the season preview, Cam, and I keep referencing you, like when I talk to people about it, I'm like, Cam made the perfect comparison of Entenmann to Ricciardelli, right? It's the same thing where you have a goalie who can then also like play as well as he did in college, made it to 4 championship games in his 4 years he started, I think.
Yeah. I think so.
And then goes on and is the reason why his PLL team makes it to championship weekend.
Yep.
Because of how well he played. Like, in the same thing with Entenmann, like your bar is literally at 100. So even if you're at 75, that's still a 0.25% drop off, right? Like it's still such a big difference.
Entenmann
Like,
and McNaney are in the conversation. I'm not going to say that I know everything about the goalie position, and I'm here to say, oh, that's the best college goalie of all time. But they're both in that conversation, and you're not laughing them out of the room. And
Right.
they're in the conversation with Tillman Johnson, John Galloway.
How do you fill those shoes? How do you fill those shoes?
You can't.
Well, and plus he's on staff, right? So every time RuPaul goes out there, he's reminded. Every time.
Yeah, right.
Like, so it's like, okay, he's there, and it's great that he's there, right? Like, all seriousness. It's great that he's there every time he's reminded.
He can't suit up.
Yeah. But every time he sees that, every stadium he goes into.
Syracuse players got reminded over the course of the game of, oh, that's right, I'm not shooting on McNaney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yes, they did. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm like you said, like it's not even that he's bad. He's just not Logan. Like
he'll be a top 10 goalie in the country easily.
Yeah.
McNaney is so like Entenmann makes the most absurd saves I've seen a goalie make. Probably. And I'm like I didn't watch the superstars of the early aughts, but like Entenmann has made against Syracuse some of the most impressive saves I've ever seen. With McNaney, it is the sheer consistency. He never lets anything remotely close to easy in, and your shot has to be perfect if he's going to save it, and that has a ripple effect on guys when they're making decisions on whether to shoot or not. That leads teams to overplay it. That leads teams to try and find the perfect shooting angle. And that kind of psychological like barrier is a big big thing to overcome. And now like it was really the other direction of I think some guys got open looks and said, I don't know if I don't feel confident shooting this against the Maryland goalie. They passed out and it usually didn't go well.
Yep, exactly.
Matt, completely go ahead. I completely forgot about this till now. I know you have 2 cards.
Oh, I'll show those quick, and then we'll talk about Harvard.
Yeah.
Let me turn off my background like an old man here.
Yeah. So
Matt's Card Corner sponsored by just kidding.
Taco Bell.
He's
got the Taco Bell.
What a friggin' Looney Tune. So I got 2 more cards in the mail. I did a trade with a guy on Facebook. So see if you can see that. Randy Stotts numbered to 3. So this is the Leaf NLL set. So it's a gold numbered to 3.
Hey, are you taking good care of Powell, by the way?
Oh yeah, he's in the binder.
Nice.
He's all set, sleeved up and in the binder. Don't you worry, Jack.
Nice.
He's in a good.
Jack,
home.
It's all bent. It's all the quarters are all bent.
No, that's actually why I gave it to Matt. Was so
no, I know.
And then a Simmons. It's platinum is the color title, but it's autograph numbered to 5. So my buddy Calder, who does breaks and sells a lot of lacrosse and hockey cards, he had some cards that this other guy on Facebook wanted, so I traded him some cards I needed to get the cards for the other guy. So it was a whole like 3-way trade thing. So pretty pumped to get those to add in the binder because some of these like low print Leaf cards are getting really hard to find. So, but yeah, that's Card Corner sponsored by Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. All right, now you can put your background back on so nobody knows what the rest of your room is like.
It's messy. There's a box behind me.
There's a reason why I'm backed up against the wall. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Just one note that I just saw.
Yep.
It looks like we're going to have a triple header on April 11th.
Oh yeah, is football doing their spring game?
Yep, at 7:30 on that day. So women first, then the men, and then football. So Jack's going to have a busy day. Jack's gonna be busy the whole day.
There could also be March Madness. Oh wait, we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, we're not gonna listen. We're not gonna do
No.
that, Jack. We're not.
No.
We're not gonna. There's a game tonight, but nobody's gonna care about that.
Say, bring your blanket and pillow to the dome for that day, Jack.
Yeah.
Speaking of things to care about, the weather. That's going to be a Twitter topic for this week.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be cold. The first
Yeah.
away game, the first outside game of the season.
Mm-hmm.
How much does that affect sort of how well they've been passing the ball, how well the offense has been playing, how well the physicality's been?
Yeah.
It's really not great for Gate Squad that their first away game is outdoor in Boston.
No, I push back on that. I think it's good. I think it's an opportunity for them to show that, like, same thing with Maryland. Like, it's an opportunity to show that this is not that Syracuse anymore, and that this Syracuse can win those kind of games. Like, I really do feel, like, honestly, it's more interesting to see, like, how is Harvard going to show up? Because I can imagine Harvard, after what happened last year, is going. They've had this game circled on their calendar since that was on their internal schedule, and this is going to be their game of the year.
Yeah.
How do you come out? Can you match their energy on the road? That's what will be interesting to see. But after the Maryland game, I am very. I have a lot of confidence in this team's mentality and the mission that they're on.
I just looked on my weather app.
Go ahead, Matt.
Boston and Syracuse are going to be right about the same temperature all week. So I'm going to assume that, and it's nice enough where they're going to be able to get out on Wool.
Yep.
So I would assume they're going to get out every day this week so they can practice outside in the elements. The only thing that honestly would affect is if it's snowing or raining, because then that affects your pockets and how you throw and shoot and stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that,
I was just going to say the same thing. The best part about the weather, Jack, obviously, you know this being from where you're from, it's pretty much the same. So, like, they're going to get out as much as they can. Let's just call it what it is. Like, I think it's supposed to be in the 40s for a little bit this week here. So,
and then high 30s. Yeah. Which, I mean, that's fine. Like, it's not frigid. Like, it's cold, but it's not frigid, right? Like, the people who it sucks for the most are the guys on the bench, right? Like, the rest of the team is going to be running around. So if you look at Saturday, they beat Providence 10-4. They faced off at about 50%, which is high for them compared to last year, but we're also looking at Providence, right? Like, so take that for what it is. I don't know how good that Providence team is. But they only also let in 4 goals, right? So the question is, I assume we have a face-off advantage, right? Like, you only have one game to go off of. I mean, luckily they play Colgate tomorrow.
Yeah, the references last year to go off of too.
Yeah. And they play Colgate tomorrow too, which I think that'll be a good indicator for us to be like, all right, where is Harvard at? Because I mean, Colgate played Virginia really well, and then who's the first game they lost to? Was it Penn State? Like, they played both Penn State and Virginia relatively well and relatively close, considering they're, mid to high team in a mid-major conference. Like, and then they beat Hobart, who they should probably beat. So, so I'm gonna try to catch some of that game tomorrow so I can kind of see what both teams look like, because we're gonna play Colgate at the end of the year too. So, but yeah, I think go ahead, Jack.
I think it'll be interesting to see the loss of Sam King. What that does for the offense. He killed SU at the Dome early in that ACC game. He really killed everyone. He was an outstanding player. Yeah. Shocked he wasn't picked earlier in the PLL draft. Utah kind of getting a steal. But he was their do-it-all guy. He was their Spallina-esque player where you give him the ball and you let him cook. They don't have him anymore. They're obviously a strong team, really good program, but it's really hard to replace those top-end guys.
Yeah. Also, it's like, is Jimmy going to have a career worst game against Harvard for the 3rd time?
Yeah, right.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to oversimplify it, but those Harvard games, despite the advantage that Mullen had in face-offs, were close because Jimmy could not make a save.
Yep.
In either of those games.
Yep.
Now, maybe this defense, you control possessions. Like, again, I feel confident that this team is going to navigate that game in such a way that they will make it so that that's not the case. That they're like, maybe Jimmy doesn't have it and Harvard's just his bogey team. The defense will make adjustments to try and work him shots that he's able to see to get a clean look and a clean read on.
Yeah.
And I think this offense can play a kind of game that they played against Maryland, where we're going to be selective. We're going to run the clock down on a lot of our possessions. We're going to get solid, not phenomenal looks. We're going to bury them and take the air out of it and play a physical, grinded out game.
Yep.
I was going to say, just a note, they did lose to Harvard last year, 12-10, Matt. Providence. So.
Okay.
They're 7-8, so not that it means. That doesn't mean anything to me. Like it's. I mean, we're still going to play the same game, like, but.
Does Harvard 10-man ride? I don't think they do, right?
Don't think so.
No.
It's going to be the best thing to see because I can't wait to see it. Work on the one-man clear this week. That's all I'm going to say. On a regular ride, work on just the midi coming back and.
Well, in all of our short stick defense, I feel confident in their ability to carry it across the field.
Yeah.
And not for them to go and play offense, but like just to get it up there, right? Like,
well, it's like when we saw Wyatt on the field there. I was like, get the ball to Wyatt. Just get the ball to Wyatt and let him run.
I like the wrinkle of Wyatt with the junkyard dog and the man down.
Yep. It's kind of funny that he was right. It's kind of funny that he was right in the middle though. And then you're like, okay, they put their tallest people on the crease, and then you're like, okay, he's gonna literally stare over him at the goal. Or something like that, like he's literally. But I mean,
7 for 7, 7 for 7.
I know.
Junkyard dog.
I know.
He's like a feisty little chihuahua.
Well, I mean, he's. I mean, look, he's already matched the total from last year.
Yeah,
and we're not even there. We're not even close. Like
he's the breakout star of the year.
And against better teams, I'll just say against all better teams, he's matched that number. So
yep. He's a junior or a sophomore?
Junior.
Yeah, there you go. He's an upperclassman now.
Yeah, I know.
Be a big boy.
He is a guy who started on the defensive end and now has graduated to the offensive. So
awesome. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm bummed that I gotta watch games for six games in a row, but
8.
Is it 8?
8. It's 8. 6 of them being ranked.
Jeez.
It's a tough slate.
Yeah.
No.
It'll prep them for May. It'll prep them for May.
Yep.
I think that's how they're looking at it too. Again, like I'm from what I have heard, the locker room was not even that hype about the Maryland win. It was a beat Maryland.
That's what we're supposed to do. Yep. Business.
The professionalism, the business, the just focus that this team has, the selflessness that everybody is showing, and part of it comes from the top with guys like Joey, but there is a real sense of this is a last dance kind of feel where this team knows they're here for a championship and everything else goes out the window and every single game is a step towards that. And that is this team is built different. This team feels different than the last couple of Syracuse teams. And a lot of it is driven by that mentality permeating throughout the entire squad.
They have a swagger to them that's not just like flash. It's also like grit. Like
The interesting part will be testing the burn the boats theory this week, right? Like, can we forget about Maryland and can we focus on Harvard? That's my thing. Like, it's
that's the last, like almost last thing I want to see too out of this team.
Yeah,
like, as the schedule progresses. Like last year, we won a few, and then like we almost got like too cocky, right? Like so finding that balance of like being confident but not being cocky, where it comes back and bites you in the ass, right? Like so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how these next few games, how they go. Do we have a little bit of a dip? Do we lose when we're not supposed to? Like, I'm very intrigued. Like what this team showed Friday is that they could go undefeated, because they showed they can, play amazing. But
I'm just gonna clip that part. Just that part. This team is going to go undefeated. That's all I'm going to clip from this, just so we can tweet this out so everybody can come to you.
But, like, can they do that? Right?
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that almost like feels like, okay, maybe they do need a loss just as like a reality check at some point. But, and you never want your team to lose, but like, it's also like, you don't want them to also get over. You don't want them to go undefeated, then get over cocky, and then lose the first round game of the tournament. We've seen that before, right, with this program. So, do they need a little bit of adversity to make sure that that's what gets them all the way there, right?
I think so, but I'd almost rather have it be a higher ranked team than a Colgate. That's the way that I'll say it.
Yes.
Because, like, if you lose to Colgate, it's not a down on Colgate, it's not a down on anybody, right? Then it becomes, okay, if we can't beat Colgate, how can we beat the Marylands? How can we beat everybody else? But if you lose, like Cam, you were talking about it, if they lose this game by 1 goal, right? It's like, okay, we're here. We took a step. They can compete with Maryland.
Yeah. I expect them to lose a game. I think the quality of opposition is so difficult that you're going to have a game where you're just having an off day.
Right.
But for me, it's like this team has shown a lot of adaptability that they can pump 20 past the defense that's not ready for their offense, but they can also play a grinded out, physical, really limit the possessions, build a possession advantage on ground balls.
Yep.
It feels like they have a different level of grit and a different level of focus this year that that sense of mission might propel them to like continue to bring their A game. That's what they brought so far. So
it's the same thing you saw out of Hiltz last year, but now you have this whole collective class that's leading the charge, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yep, for sure. Awesome.
Anything else from anybody?
I'm good, fellas. Ready for Saturday. Can it be Saturday already?
Don't start that. Please don't start that. I think we're good. I think.
Yep. Go Orange.
All right. Go Orange.
Go Orange.